We've read the poem The Cry of the Children and the title. The title is called The Cry of the Children, and throughout the poem there is a lot of descriptions of sound, for example, birds chirping and children weeping and so on. So it makes a lot of sense that the title is also a description of a sound.
When we're looking at the setting, we first of all get the impression that it's a realistic world, because it, for example, says, through the cold dark underground, or all day we drive the wheels, from line 74. It gives us the impression that they're walking underground, and presumably with the coal, which they transport with carts, and we also get the impression that they are working from the city, because it says from the mine and from the city, from line 57, and yeah, it's probably London or some big city. And when we're looking at the social environment, we hear that it says that for the man's grief abhorrent draws and presses down the cheeks of infancy, from line 27. It shows us that it's the man's guilt and influence which makes the children work, and by the language it indicates that it is the dominant factor why such young children are working in such horrible conditions, and some of the conditions or consequences for such an environment is that they have very bad or whatever. There is a lot of consequences for them. It, for example, says that little Alice died last year. Her grave is shapen like a snowball in the rhyme, and it's a way of saying that their conditions are so bad that their consequences is equally as bad.
And then we have form and structure. The whole poem is organized by 13 stanzas with each 12 lines. This creates a form of a state where you get calm, because it's not all mixed up. It's the same in every stanza. The stanzas are linked by their answer to each one another from the former line. For example, one stanza ends with, "And the graves are for the old," and the next stanza starts with, "True, say the children." This is from line 36 to 37. Throughout the poem, there is end rhymes, and it's AA, BB, because every second line rhymes at the end. For example, mothers, brothers, years, tears. This is in line 1 to 5.
Yeah, poetic language. There's a lot of old words in the text, and that's of course because it's written in 1842. And some of the words could be blessive and cursive. They pretty much just mean blesses and curses, but they just have added these ETH letters to the end. We have a lot of question marks in the text. This indicates that the author maybe has some questions about how these children are treated, and also he doesn't understand why it has to be like this, why a child labor so in these days, if you know what I mean, in the industry at that time. We also have a lot of repetition in the text. Young is repeated over and over, almost in every single stanzas, and that of course indicates how much we have to look at how young these children are. They and how hard they are being pushed, even though they aren't supposed to work this hard at that age. Also in sentence 25 and in sentence 149, there's repetition. They look up with their pale and sunken faces, and their look are sad to see. But in 149, it is, and the look are dread to see. This only indicates how bad it has become, and it's only getting worse and worse. Yeah. Then we have some themes slash messages. And first we have young versus old. And this is because, well, we have this debate between the young and old. And the graves are for the old, as it is written in sentence 36. That's because the young are dying by this labor. They are being pushed way too far. And like Christian said earlier, some girl named Alice died, and her grave is shaped like a snowball. And that's pretty much it. We have to respect the younger more than we do, and make sure they don't work as hard so they die.
Yeah, that's the main conflict, and the life of this, and the life circle, and the question of death. It's pretty simple for the children because of their environment. They have probably forsaken all of their imaginary choices because they only actually have one, and that is to die. Because it says, alas, the wretched children, they are seeking death in life as best to have. So the environment is shapen so harshly that in the end a normal death for them is the most natural thing to have. Slam.